everybody, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel and this is a vlogging channel with my husband and I do every other week updates of my twin pregnancy. This update is going to be for weeks 25 and 26. I will be 27 weeks tomorrow, which is super crazy because that means it's officially the last week of my second trimester. So that's blowing my mind right now. I can't believe I'm gonna be like in the last leg here next week. And I have a lot to talk about. So I'm gonna start by talking about what's going on with the babies, and then I'll get into some of my symptoms and a few of the products that I've been loving in the second trimester of pregnancy. So for the babies, the coolest thing I think that I learned this week that's happened with them is that they have an equilibrium now, like a functioning orientation of which way's up and down. So it makes sense because I feel like when I move, I wake them up and they'll like shift positions, or like if I go from laying on my side to sitting up. So I think that's really cool. Like they're kind of oriented in there and know which way's up and down. They're still both what they call transverse. So she's on top going side to side and he's on bottom going side to side as of the last ultrasound, which I guess it's been a few weeks. So that means that if they don't move from where they are now, it's an automatic C-section. So we'll see what happens. I think by like week 31 or 32, they start determining like what we're gonna be doing as far as the delivery based on the positions of baby A, really. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Someone asked about their birth order, like if we know who will be born first, the boy or the girl. If I'm able to deliver vaginally, then he will be first for sure because he's baby A, which means he's the closest to the exit. So yeah, vaginally he will come first. If I end up having a C-section, then it's a free-for-all. They'll cut and then whoever's close comes out first. And it's usually within a few minutes of each other. So we don't really know the birth order yet. And then their names, her name is set. Like we both know, we both agree on her name. We're a little bit iffy on the spelling of it because I feel like the way that we wanted to spell it, people will mispronounce it. So we're kind of playing with the different spellings of her name. And then his name, I feel like I know what it is. Brad is not quite on board yet, but he is closer. He's closer than he used to be. So we'll see what happens when we determine what his name will be, because I think I've just been using it a lot and I think that's making him like more familiar and more comfortable with it, and that's helping. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so getting into like my symptoms and what's been going on with me, without just like complaining a whole lot, this video would be really short. So I feel like things have been overall, okay, I gotta take it back a notch, because with the twin pregnancy, things could be really bad. Like I could be in pain all the time by this point, and I'm not. So I'm very, very thankful. I feel like for having twins and for this being my first pregnancy, the first time my body's stretched in this way, I'm doing really, really well. If I'm looking for things to talk about that are symptomatic for me, then it would be, there's a couple things. First of all, probably the most uncomfortable thing is my sciatic nerve. So I think I talked about that in my last video, like my left sciatic nerve predominantly, occasionally my right one, and when it's off for like the whole day, and even walking like agitates it. So this last week has been, I've had the most sciatic pain this last week, and it happens to be the week following my first chiropractic adjustment. I know that those probably aren't correlating, and maybe if I had not been adjusted last week, it would have been even worse. So I had another adjustment today at the chiropractor, and she did a little bit more than she did last week. So we'll see how it goes. Since my adjustment this morning, I haven't had any sciatic pain, so we'll see. The other thing is my ribs on this side. She is up underneath my ribs almost all the time. And so when I sit like I am right now, it'll just get gradually more uncomfortable because of like the expansion of this rib cage. So that's been pretty uncomfortable. I felt like when it first started it was worse, but now that like it's happening all day, every day, I'm just getting used to it. So it's not terrible. I have a really hard time sleeping because like the longer I'm in one position, the more it'll hurt. So I have to flip over frequently. To get past that, I have been taking a half of a Unisom before bed, and that's helping me like kind of sleep through it so that I can get longer stretches of sleep without having to like roll over or get up, physically get up and stretch. So I feel like the good outweighs the bad in terms of I don't want to be taking a lot of medications that I don't need, and I don't love taking a medicine that helps me sleep because I feel like sleep should be a very natural thing, and I don't like having aid in falling asleep, and Unisom freaking knocks me out. So half of a Unisom is plenty, and even then, like when I have to get up to pee, which I do at least once, usually twice or 3 times a night, I'm like groggy from just a half a Unisom. So anyway, that's kind of the latest on my ribs. I just know that that's going to keep getting worse, and maybe the chiropractor will help with that too. I don't know. A lot of you were recommending that I get a pregnancy pillow, and I've actually had one since I got it really early. When I found out it was twins, I felt like I was gonna get big really fast, and if you watch our channel, that just did not happen. Like, I'm finally looking consistently pregnant every day and like getting comments from strangers, and I'm 6.5 months along. So I got a pillow early, anticipating I was gonna be getting uncomfortable very quickly. And at the beginning, I hated this pillow. It says Leach Co., but it's like the shape of a capital G. This thing's giant. So it looks like this. And I've been playing around with it where I make this the top, and sometimes I make this the top, and I think I've got it figured out where I like it, but it's taken until now for me to like be friends with this pillow. I think the biggest hurdle for me was that whenever I was in the pillow under the covers and I would try to roll over, I felt really claustrophobic. Like, I felt like I was trapped inside this pillow and my legs would get caught and it just like wasn't working. And then having this side open, like I need support on my back when I'm facing this side of the pillow. And without like totally reorienting the pillow while I'm asleep, I can't do that. So I'm figuring it out. So I put a pillow on that side and I kind of like encase myself with it. I put a picture on Instagram of how I have everything oriented. If you don't follow us on Instagram, it's just @BradandRach. There's a link below. But I posted a picture last night of like my pillow fort that I make every night when I go to sleep. So anyway, I'll link this pillow below too if you want to try it out. I know a lot of people love it. It's like the same design as the Snoogle, I guess, and people rave about that one. Until now, I just didn't get the craze, but I think they also make like a U-shaped one. I was telling Brad, like if they had one that was in the shape of a door frame, that would be perfect because like your head would be at the top and then you would have support like body pillows on both sides. So I might try to find one of those, especially if sleep starts becoming more scarce, and I feel like that will help. Okay, so another product that I've been loving is this stretch mark oil. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. So Brad has been putting this on my belly and like my love handle area every single night, and it's so like it smells like a spa, and it's very oily, so it like by morning it's soaked in, but it's like, I don't know, just like this very rich oil, very good smelling, very relaxing smelling, and it's made specifically for stretch marks. So I'll link this below too. I've been using it for probably 2 weeks and I've only used it up to like right there. So this actually might last until the end of my pregnancy, I hope. And so this is kind of interesting. I have started working out again because I was like hitting my weight goals. I finally was like at the goal that I wanted to be. I think it was like 25 or 6 weeks. I was like caught up to what my goal was for weight gain. And so I decided I could go ahead and start incorporating a little bit of exercise into my day without like being too detrimental on like my weight gain goals. So what I've been doing mainly, besides just like walking Rusty, is doing an exercise bike, and I'll just do 15 or 20 minutes of like a very light interval. So for a majority of the time I'm biking, it's just our little like exercise bike. You know what, I'll link that below too. We got it on Amazon. It was like $130, and it's really nice. It's really quiet. We just have it set up in our living room. And so I have the resistance fairly low for a majority of the time, and then for like a 2-minute interval, I'll crank it up a little bit so it's a little bit more resistant. And just like getting my heart rate up has been so lovely. Like I've missed it so much, but I'm not getting crazy. It's not like I'm panting and out of breath and sweaty. I'm just like getting a little bit of cardiovascular workout each day, and that's been really nice. I'm still doing the thing where every time I go to the bathroom I do like just some air squats or wall push-ups just to like keep my muscle tone. Even just like getting up from a laying down position is getting way more difficult because I guess because my ab muscles are stretched out, they just like aren't working very well. And so to get up, I can't rely on them at all. I have to push myself up, and just the extra weight and everything, it's difficult. So getting a little bit of workout every day and just like keeping some muscle tone, I think is really important. And last of all, I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. This was just one of those like generic doctor's appointments that they don't really do a whole lot besides weigh you. You give them a urine sample and they check for protein in your urine. They take your blood pressure. They measure your fundal length, and they listen to the heartbeats of the babies just with a Doppler. The doctor that I saw yesterday has been, I said this last time, but she has been by far my favorite doctor that I've seen so far in this pregnancy. I actually had her as a patient. I was her eye doctor a few years back, and so I was familiar with her. She remembered me from that, which I thought was impressive, and she was just awesome. She took the time to like sit down with me and go through everything basically so far. So the last visit I had was my glucose test, and so she had like the printout of all of the lab results that they had from that. My glucose level, they wanted it under 140 and it was 72, I think. She said that was fantastic even for somebody who's not pregnant. So she was really impressed with that. I was really glad because I did not want gestational diabetes. But she started listing off the things that twin pregnancies commonly get. So there are a whole gamut of complications during pregnancy. There's gestational diabetes, pre-eclampsia, preterm labor, a couple of other things. And she said usually you don't escape a twin pregnancy without at least getting one of them. And so she said gestational diabetes is one that I've avoided, and I'm excited. The problem that she saw was, there's a couple problems. First of all, anemia. I'm really, really borderline on my iron levels, and it was actually a little bit below what they consider normal. So 11.1 to like 14.1 is normal, and I was at an 11. It's low. And she said she's not concerned about me right now. She's not concerned about the babies right now. Like, they're getting everything they need and depleting it from me. I won't have much. At an 11, there's nothing much that will happen to me now. But when I deliver, if it's at an 11, I'll need a blood transfusion after delivery because of like the amount of blood that you lose either way. So she is really concerned about that. She's gonna monitor that closely, and I'm gonna try to do everything I can to get my iron level up as high as I can by the time we deliver. So the thing with iron, you can't just start taking it and magically your iron goes up. It takes time for you to like accumulate iron in your blood. So we're kind of running out of time here. So anyway, I'm doing everything I can. I'm eating everything I can eat. I'm cooking with an iron skillet. I'm taking an iron supplement with orange juice. So it's kind of in God's hands now. We'll just pray that my iron levels are up to a good level by the time we deliver, so I don't need a blood transfusion then. And then the other problem that she saw is that my blood pressure, I had an appointment 2 weeks ago. It was actually less than 2 weeks ago. And my blood pressure then was 98/62 or something. Yesterday it was 128/78. So huge jump in blood pressure. In addition to that, I had gained 6 pounds. So that's not like fat, that's water weight. And so the fact that like my blood pressure jumped up like that and I have all of this water weight that I'm carrying around all of a sudden makes her think pre-eclampsia. That really freaks me out because once I get diagnosed with pre-eclampsia, I'm on bed rest, and it feels very early for that. So like the whole feel of the visit was like a warning. She was very deliberate to tell me that like every decision that I make every day needs to be in thought of these babies, and I need to be saying no to things. I need to be saying no to extra work, no to hosting holidays, no to, you know, just like extra things that bulk up my schedule, and yes to like relaxing and taking care of myself and the babies. So it was like, I really needed to hear that, I think. It was just like a really good visit, and you could tell she cared about me, and I just really enjoyed her. So anyway, we're gonna monitor my blood pressure and see what happens in the next few weeks, and hopefully that will be normal and I don't have preeclampsia. A couple other random things. She was asking if I felt any contractions, and I kind of described like the tightening that I felt, like where like something's pushing in from the sides. She confirmed that that was in fact a real contraction, not Braxton Hicks. So I'm not really concerned because that doesn't happen very often, but something else to be looking out for. She also wanted to start talking about the birth plan, and I thought that was really cool. Like, I even said to her, I'm like, I feel like every time I've brought this up, my questions have been brushed off like it's way too early to start thinking about that. And she was like, absolutely not, you have twins. She said, I'm hoping that you can stay pregnant for another month. So talking about the birth plan with her and like talking through how confident she would be that as long as baby A is head down, like we could do a vaginal delivery. She was just like really confident, and obviously has a ton of experience and just like really understands my specific situation so well. So we will plan on an induction the last week of December, and so I'm gonna just look and see when she's on staff that day and do it whenever she's there. So hopefully, you know, she told me that babies have a sense of humor, and like the chances that we'll make it to that date that we set is probably not likely, but we can always try. So okay, I think that's about it as far as updates. So I'll just do a bump update for you guys and show you my bump, and then I think that's it. Okay, so here's the belly, and from the side. I'm excited that it's moving out because I feel like that's taking less pressure off of internal organs. So thank you so much for watching this video. I will link my lip color below. Everybody always asks about that, so that will also be linked below. If you ever have any questions that you want me to answer specifically, then you can always leave those in the comments below, and I always read every single comment. So I really appreciate all of your guys' support, kind words. Anytime I have a concern, everybody chimes in with like their experience or something that can help, and I really take that to heart. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye!